Welcome back to the Roast It Yourself podcast, brought to you by Coffee Bean Corral and Current Crop Roasting Shop. I'm Stephen Burnett with Coffee Bean Corral in Jackson, Mississippi, and with me is Catherine Mansell, certified Q grader and director of Current Crop Roasting Shop in New Orleans, Louisiana. How are you today, Catherine?
I'm doing well again.
Very good. Again, you keep doing well.
I know.
You got to mix it up a little bit. People are going to get bored. Each week we set aside 10-ish minutes to field questions about from home roasters and professionals alike about roasting, tasting, and most importantly, enjoying coffee. Send your questions to questions@riypod.com. That's questions@riypod.com. Roast it yourself. See what we did there. To get a nice shout out from us and in an upcoming episode, and of course get your question answered. Before we dive into today's question, I want to shout out, this is kind of connected to the question we're about to answer, but we have a couple of coffees we want to draw your attention to. Catherine, you go ahead. What's the one from Current Crop?
It's from El Salvador. It's called Finca La Fanny. It's a red Bourbon natural. I have been sort of obsessed with the two offerings that we have from El Salvador in the micro lot section at Current Crop. And we'll get into this a little bit later, but these beans get really big and plump when you roast them. But they're nice, dark, fruity coffees that I've really been drawn to over the past few months.
That's excellent. And I think Coffee Bean Corral, we've got quite a few coffees that are similar in terms of they're just huge.
Right.
And when you roast them, they plump up real big. But the one we're going to draw your attention to is the Kona Extra Fancy, grown right here in the good old US of A. That coffee is delicious. It's kind of a gold standard.
Sure.
And Konas are great. If you haven't had them, you should try them. We have, I think we either just had or are going to have a Kona Kona sale here. Yeah. So keep your eye out for that. Yeah. Go to coffeebeancorral.com, scroll down to the bottom, and enter your email address to get those emails so you can get those kind of awesome deals when they come up. Okay, so we've already hinted at the question, but let's get right into it from our listener, Ben.
Hey, Ben.
Ben, thanks for the question. Listener and friend of the podcast, friend of Current Crop and Coffee Bean Corral. When I roast my beans at home, they plump up to a pretty big size. The roasted whole beans I see in stores are about half the size. Why is there such a big difference, and is this significant? Thank you.
Sure. All coffee beans are different sizes. If you're looking at bags and you see something that says 14, 15 screen, 17, 18 screen, AA, AB, extra fancy,
Supremo.
All of those are sizes. So if you're roasting a bean and it's plumping up really big, is it the same origin that you're finding when you're buying the bean in the coffee shop? If it's not, that's one reason why it's not the same size. So if you think of coffee as sort of a fruit, when it grows, it is kind of reminiscent of a grape because it's got skin and fruit and seeds. So all of those seeds are different sizes, and all of the seeds, the coffee beans, go through screens, and they're measured to 64th of an inch. So if you see 14, 15, that's 14 64ths of an inch in diameter. So depending on the size of it when you start off when it's raw, most of the time it's going to double, sometimes triple in size as you roast. So if you have a Pacamara from El Salvador, those are huge beans that are huge in their raw form and even double the size in their roasted form. So it really just depends on the bean. So the size isn't an issue. They're just a difference in sizes in different countries all over the world.
It takes all kinds of beans, really, to make a wonderful coffee landscape that we have today.
Right.
And the other thing too is that you're seeing, and it is shocking when you first start roasting, as you get into it, to see how small the coffee is before it's roasted compared to what it looks like. But if you're just seeing the coffee roasted in the store, you didn't see the green, then it may have plumped a lot from its green form before. So that's going to be part of it too. I've noticed a lot of Ethiopian coffees, at least in the last couple of years, have been kind of on the smaller side in general. So and I would say above all, consistency of size is more important than what size they are. Right. Because they'll all roast evenly and that kind of thing if they're consistent. Right. So yeah. Well, anyway, I hope that was a helpful answer. Sure. But yeah, some things are just plump more when you cook them. Yeah. Was it Ballpark Franks, right? They plump when you cook them. Yeah. Right. Some coffees are like that. So Catherine, tell us, like, Current Crop Coffee Bean Corral, like sister companies, and I think people. Coffee Bean Corral's just been around since 1994. It's been around for a while. People know about it. Like, what's the thing that sets Current Crop apart? What do you guys do that really specialize in?
Education. So if you're buying from Coffee Bean Corral, most likely you have a roaster, you have your own way to roast the coffee. At Current Crop, we have roasters on site that people are welcome to use once they learn how to use it. And the way to learn how to use it is to take a class. We have intro to roasting classes where we use the same roasters that are scattered throughout our bean library in New Orleans. We start off with fresh roast because they're a very entry level, very great way to learn the progression of the roast because you're watching everything, smelling everything, listening, and can hear everything really well. So in the intro to roasting class, you do a light roast, a medium roast, and a dark roast on the fresh roast. 3 different coffees from 3 different origins around the world, 3 different roast levels. So you learn how to use the equipment, and you also taste a few different coffees to see what you like about them, what you don't like about them. So the next time you come in the shop, you have a better understanding of where to go. Then I do an intro to cupping class. As a Q grader, I am always cupping with everybody on staff, but a lot of customers want to come in and cup coffee as well. I hear a lot of people say, I can't tell a difference in coffees. So I get them to take a class because we evaluate 3 completely different coffees, one at a time, and go over what we smell and taste and try to help people get a little bit more specific about what they're experiencing so they know what they like and what they don't like. So the next time they're walking through our bean library trying to find a bean that they like, if they were in the class and they hated that citrus note, they know if they're looking through the coffees and they see a citrus note, it's probably not going to be a coffee that they're going to enjoy. So really just gives them the knowledge and the understanding of what they like and what they don't like and really put words to it. Then Savannah, who runs our social media, has a coffee cocktail creation class. You have to in New Orleans. She teaches people how to make an espresso martini, an Irish coffee, and a Mai Tai, all with coffees that she's roasted, and she talks about the brew methods, ratios, and goes through all of it. You have a whole setup like you're a bartender with all the jigs and the shakers and everything, so it's actually a lot of fun. And then I do a coffee cupping pairing. So it's a little bit different than the intro to cupping class because we still evaluate 3 different coffees, but at the end of every set, you sit down and have the same coffee as an auto drip with the pastry so you can see how that pastry highlights those cupping notes that we've already evaluated. And Savannah's also working on beginner brew method classes. We get asked probably every day, I have a pour over, but I have no idea what I'm doing. What's my ratio? What's my grind size? What's the temperature of the water? And that goes for every brew method that we have in the store. So I think she's going to start off with an AeroPress, a pour over, and a French press. So everybody in there can taste the do's and don'ts and go over ratios and kind of how to do it in the way that they most enjoy.
That is awesome.
Yes.
That last one is so exciting to me because so much coffee education is done on the internet and it's super valuable. You can go on YouTube and find all these videos, but at the end of the day, there's a bunch of videos and a lot of them disagree. There's a lot of like different methods and different ways of doing something, and you still don't know if what I'm tasting is what they're tasting.
Right.
So when you get to come in and sit in on one of these classes, you get to have that experience and learn rubbing shoulders with other people that love coffee too, which I think is super cool. Now, this sounds incredibly valuable. Are these like $100, $150 a class? No?
No, all of the intro to roasting, intro to cupping classes are $40. The coffee cocktail class is $70 and the pastry pairing is $60.
Wow.
So everything is under $100.
That is awesome.
Yes.
It's a lot of value. And I've done some of these classes. They're super fun. So when you're in New Orleans, there's a lot of things to do in New Orleans, but there's nothing like Current Crop in the whole world.
That's right.
So go there when you go to New Orleans. Go to New Orleans to go to Current Crop.
Right.
And then check out some other stuff while you're there too.
Sure.
It's awesome. So but anyway, to close this out, if you'd like to pick up roasting as a new hobby or peruse a wide inventory of coffee roasters and green coffee beans, there are no better places to do that than coffeebeancorral.com and currentcroproasting.com. We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it.
Yeah.
Doubtful, but we hope you did. And if you did, please leave us a rating and review on your podcasting app of choice. We're excited to watch the Roast It Yourself podcast grow and expand and reach more and more people, but we can't do that without you. So we thank you for those reviews. Remember to send your questions, if you have any, about coffee in general or coffee roasting in particular, to questions@riypod.com. And otherwise, have a great day and happy roasting.
Happy roasting. Come see me in New Orleans.
Yes.